Hello, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Lego headphone holder that I made out of course, Legos. Now, I want to take a moment to also talk about why this is a really good idea and also why this has actually become a really good, useful item around my gaming setup and things like that. So, first off, let's talk about a couple things. I'm going to have, or the format of this video, I'm going to have the time lapse in the middle. I'm going to talk a little bit about, like, the background story of why I decided to build this, why I decided to make this, building process, and then talk about like what it's been like actually using this, because I've actually been using this for the last couple of days. I like it a lot, and that's a short summary. So let's talk about, first off, why I decided to do this. So if you're unfamiliar, there's been a lot of companies out there that have been going through and saying things like, hey, you should buy ours. We have a headphone holder for $40 that you can get to hold your expensive headphones. Now, I understand that people want something expensive to hold their expensive item, but I also don't understand that. It seems that's very a little weird, because why would you spend so much money on a headphone holder when you could get nicer headphones? As you can see, it just really doesn't make sense for me. So basically what I went through in here, I said, hey, I have a bunch of Legos laying around. This is something I can build on top of. I can put some, some different things that some different sets that I have, attach them on here, and be like, hey, this is something I can build off of. Where meanwhile, other headphone holders and stuff, they don't have that ability. Yes, they have RGB, but who cares about RGB when you could have it out of Legos? Like, let's be honest. Legos, RGB. I go for the Legos. I don't know about you all, but I go for Legos. Don't get me wrong, RGB is nice, but Legos. So I went through and I did this. And then I also had a couple design features that I had to make sure I included. So if you take a look at this, you've got the headphone part that actually has a really, really high, weight capacity. So you can put some really heavy headphones on there without having it break. So let's talk about a little bit how I decided to build this. So as you can see right here, it's got two legs. Looks like a big number 1 from where you're looking at. Actually, I could see that quite well. But it does look like a big number 1, what you guys are looking at. And pretty much what this is it's just the headphone part that holds the headphones, which is a little indentation so it doesn't slide anywhere. So pretty much the headphones just sit on there so it doesn't slide anywhere, doesn't go anywhere, and it can pretty much just rock. As for the legs, I wanted to put them pretty far out but not too far, so that way I could still hang over my keyboard. And also I didn't want it so that the legs kind of just let it fall over like that. Similar, I just didn't want it to be sticking out here and just fall over. That's kind of the point, defeats the purpose of the headphone holder. So the other thing is I had to actually make sure this was really sturdy, because the other thing is, like, the headphones, it may not seem like a lot of weight, but like when you're throwing them on here and stuff, you really don't want the whole thing falling apart. Like, you really just don't want that happening. You want to be able to toss it on there and not have any problems. So as you can see, that's pretty much the headphones as you're looking at it there. So let's talk about some of the details on why I decided to build one myself rather than buy one. As I said, I talked about Legos. I like Legos a lot. But the big thing for me was I really wanted one of these, because it's been a difficulty for me trying to keep these headphones, off the floor. They fall off the floor. I don't have much desk space, especially when I'm, throwing stuff for videos, things like that. And so I thought, why don't I make one of these? So I'm going to put my headphones and not buy one because I'm cheap and I don't want to necessarily spend a bunch of money on something that doesn't necessarily seem a requirement to me. So I made one of these and I like it a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, I for what I pay for this, free, and what the usability I got out of it, that's great. I love it. Would I necessarily go out and pay and buy one? No. I like the Lego idea. So let's move on to the time lapse, and then we'll go through and just talk about my closing thoughts and how much I use this, what the best parts have been, what the worst parts have been, things like that.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain.
Okay, so let's talk about the parts and stuff that I've used. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse, but what I really enjoy using is some of the goods and bads of this. So first off, the good parts. Well, there's a lot of good parts. You don't have your headphones on the floor. It's a good place to store them, a good place to keep them. It's basically a big hook. That's kind of what the whole thing is. But the bad parts are there's a few. Well, for me, it ends up being the difficulty of trying to find somewhere to put this that isn't going to be in the direct eyesight of my monitor. Now, obviously, I have a really big TV, and then I have a smaller monitor that I use for, you know, the different purposes, video editing, all that stuff. And this actually just becomes like, the TV ends up being right there, and it's kind of tall. Now, if I made this any shorter, the headphones would kind of hit the ground or risk hitting the other parts, and that kind of defeats the purpose. You don't want you scraping your precious headphones on the, or headset or whatever, on the Legos where you're going to damage it. So that's kind of what the purpose was. This is one of the downsides that I've had. Another thing is though that sometimes, let's just say for example, you really get violent with this, like you really get violent, then you end up in this problem here where you have a broken headphones. Now obviously if you actually just decide to make sure you get this all sturdy and stuff, you're really not going to run into that problem. But no matter how well you design the Legos, eventually after so many uses of banging, messing around with this, you're eventually going to have something like that happen, and it kind of breaks down. So that's one of the bad parts. I mean, obviously it does take a lot of effort. If you put it together nicely, you're not going to necessarily run into that issue as much as you would otherwise. So overall, if you've got one, if you don't have a headphone holder, I recommend it. Out of Legos, it's a great idea. Go for it. Legos are so easy and nice, and something you can easily make. Doesn't cost anything. A nice little addition to any, I guess, gaming rig, and I might just end up putting them somewhere else, or maybe showcasing a different pair of headphones, and rather just leave the headphones over there. But I definitely like it a lot. It just comes down necessarily to just having the ability and the longevity of it. Just, I guess it really just comes down to if you got the space and it's not going to interfere with your gaming setup. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. It's been a while since we've done a video where we've built out of Legos. We used to do Lego computer cases, multiple Lego computer cases. We used to do Lego like CPU coolers, case fans, things like that. We do a lot of those options, Lego GPU coolers, things like that. We tried, and those were good fun videos, so this will be another edition of that. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Check out my channel for other cool tech related news videos, reviews, unboxings, things like that, as well as Lego videos. And thank you. Goodbye.